Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room, and today I'm joined by Alex. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing good. Ready to look at this Las Vegas Regionals Finals, and what an ending.
What an ending. I'm very excited to watch this set. It's apparently been extremely hype. I have only kind of seen the end sequencing. Obviously, we're both there, but we were hitting up the strip at this point in the tournament. So, yeah, we
Pretty
both
much.
did.
Yep.
We did pretty well. I got top 16. You got top 32. You lost your winning in two, Dylan, due to
That's true.
unfortunate circumstances, but we don't have to go into all that. So, let's hop into it. Let's talk about their teams. Talk about what our competitors are going to be running today.
Yeah, I think Zach's team is kind of an interesting one here because it's not exactly a copy paste of something we've seen before. A lot of similarities to other things. Whereas the team from Dylan here, we've been seeing it. You know it well because you've been using it. It actually ended up winning Brisbane, at least a version of this, and it continues to shine at this point. Amungus Ensign balance, P2 Ursa balance, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, just a very consistent team.
Yeah, to me, I've always felt like Dylan's team, like I ran it at this tournament as well, and I kind of ran it as a last resort because nothing else was really clicking, and I knew I could perform well with it, and I thought maybe there was a chance that it could win, but I personally have felt like this team is cursed. It's been outside of Australia, right? That's where it dominated, that's where it won, that's where it's most well known, and it did win Australia twice in Reg H, but outside of there, it's never even like, I don't think it even cuts. It's very rarely getting close to those top tables. I mean, it's always at the top, but it's never winning, right? It's always the 9-3 cursed team. But Dylan here bringing it all the way to the finals. It's a very simple team. You've got, like you mentioned, Ensign, P2, Amungus, like these really bulky defensive Pokemon. Ursa Luna for the Trick Room mode. And then you have a Tail Room element with the Kilowatt Roll and the Golden Go.
Yeah, it's really cool because of the dual speed control with Trick Room and Tailwind. And Kilowatt and P2 support Ursaluna pretty well with their coverage. P2 really good at dealing with some of the annoying Pokemon like King Gambit, and Ice Beam is very good for flyers like Dragonite or anything else like with a flying typing like Kilowatt. And then Kilowatt can hit grass types that are coming in on a Headlong Rush or an Earthquake, and it can also Thunderbolt things like Terra Water Golden Go, which normally would survive the Earthquake if it does decide to use that Durastalization.
I think too the most annoying part is like it is just hard to counter everything that this team is going to do, right? Like if you're going to set up Tailwind, it's really difficult to stop that and potentially just like an instant P2 Trick Room lead, right? Like I feel like it is so dynamic. You can approach every matchup with just so many tools, right? Fake Out, Rage Powder, you have set up Pokemon, you have Trick Room, you have Tailwind. You literally have it all on one team. Intimidate, and even competitive, right? Like they have to. There's the team preview is just a nightmare for your opponent, and I think like a good player can make this team really, really shine. I love this team. It's been one of my favorites. I don't think there's anything too crazy on Dylan's team outside of, I mean, I wouldn't even say Terra Water is too absurd on the Golden Go, but we have seen some Terra Dragon usually on the Life Orb variant, and the Terra Water is reserved for the bulky Goldies, but Dylan opting to run Terra Water as his defensive Terra. It's just really, really good into Golden Go. That's like the main reason, right? Whereas Dragon is still neutral to make it rain. But yeah, I think this team is just incredible, and there really is just like it has a matchup into everything, and that's what makes it so good. But yeah, let's talk about Zach's team. Let's hop into there. Zach's gonna be running a kind of like, I feel like it reminds me of the Magmar team. I think it's one mon off the Magmar team, but opting to run the Grassy Seed Sneasler instead of the more supportive one, and then also opting to run Incineroar, which over Magmar, which is a pretty big shift. There's no Follow Me now for the King Gambit, but he does have that double Fake Out.
Yeah, and that Volcarona usually usually running the Grassy Seed, but instead it's a King Gambit. Both setup Pokemon, the Sneasler here also not running Swords Dance. That's why there's just, like you said, a lot of similarities, but not quite one for one from anything. I'm also just now noticing the Basculegion is Terra Fairy as well. Not Terra Blast, though. Still has Aqua Jet, and that will be relevant later. But Yeah, and then Covert Cloak on the instant too. So I don't know. It is really cool that a lot of what Zach is doing here is at the end of the day original. Like
Hmm.
it's just again not a complete copy paste. There was a lot of decisions made with this team, and it carried him this far. So I mean, props to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sneasler set is still pretty cool. I think we don't see a lot of the Dire Claw acrobatics like this, but I think the set is still fire. It's still good, right? It gives you a good matchup with the enemy Sneaslers. Having just the absurd coverage as well is just annoying. And yeah, I mean, we got the double fake out, and opting for King Gambit over Volcarona is a little bit wild, but at the same time, I think it makes some sense, right? Like it kind of just it feels like it's a blend between Sanvi's team and then the Narret team with Magmar and the King Gambit. So it's a cool team. I'm excited to see how he's going to pilot here. And now, obviously, we know the Ursaluna team pretty well. We both used it at Milwaukee, and I used it at Vegas. How do you feel about the matchup? What are you doing if you're Dylan from Dylan's perspective?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the times King Gambit can be difficult to deal with when it has grassy terrain and redirection backing it. In this case, it doesn't have both, and so you can probably try to line up a headlong rush to get rid of it. Terrifier doesn't work as a defensive terrestrialization when it comes to headlong rush specifically. You know, you can use grassy terrain to reduce the power of earthquake, but there's no follow me to redirect something like a headlong rush. And then otherwise, Trick Room with Spore looks really strong. You got to be ready for um, your opponent to stall those Trick Room turns with different fake outs. Technically, Incineroar can tear grass to be immune to Spore, but because they don't have that safety goggles, if you can get up the Trick Room, Spore will be really, really strong. The Incineroar having Taunt, though, doesn't make that easy, so you probably can't go with one mode from Zach's team without it having one mode from Dylan's team without Zach having some good counter options. If you go for the Tailwind, you might just get Flip Turn Dire Clawed as we're seeing
Yeah.
here, you know. So then, but a Taunt Incineroar lead would be really annoying for anything P2. So you gotta make the call.
Yeah, and I think that Zach made the right call here, right? Because if P2 had been led, this would have been the easiest trick room of his life. But he instead opted to lead with that Kilowattrel Bear, which would have been really good into Incineroar. So I would say, Zach got the the good end of the trade here. But at the same time, right, like you can switch, you can reposition. Ursaluna is in position to set itself up, and it is next to the bird, which means switching in Incineroar doesn't feel the greatest. But I imagine that we are, yeah, okay. A double protect, it's safe, right? You don't have to commit anything. You can just scout it out, get burned, and figure out what you're going to do next turn. And we're going to see
Right.
it
So
Terrafly.
it does look like a very solid play for Dylan, but I think that a lot of the danger from Kilowattrel Bear is the ability to go on the aggression right away. And if you've protected both your Pokemon, it's usually a fine move if, afterwards, you you might have like the speed advantage or something like that. But like Kilowattrel is still going to be slower than this Basket Legion, and then slower than the Sneasler once it gets its Grassy Seed. And it does have me a little bit worried that, you can't. You're just gonna have to kind of take that damage now on the Kilowattrel side, and you can't really prevent it. But on the flip side, one of the most dangerous things is Basket Legion locking into a flip turn and then not landing it, because now your opponent knows that that slot is switching out. So you can try to target a switch in going. You could even go for Facade into the Basket Legion if you wanted to, just because you know it's not going to be there at the end of the turn.
Very true, and we are going to see the swap here. So Dylan is preserving Kilowattrel, which I think is smart. I think that like both of his Pokemon in the back are, expendable. They're whatever. Like Incineroar and Amoonguss are there to be swapped in. So I think this is a good safe turn. And we're actually going to see Sneasler withdraw here into what is it? KG? It is KG. Okay, I mean, Zach commits Terra turn 1, but then forces out the Terra from Dylan on turn 2. I respect the Terra from Dylan, but at the same time, I thought it was pretty likely that he was just going to remove the Kilowattrel. I don't know. Like, it would be very risky in the finals to leave your bear, and, he's not punished for it. He does flip turn off the Ursaluna. The Terra Ghost is solid, And I think this was just a really good turn from Zach, though, to diffuse the pressure of the Guts Bear there and basically call out what he was doing.
Right. I think that Zach was hoping to get in King Gambit on a facade targeted into the Sneasler and possibly make it, and that does go exactly correctly, but the it does still do a lot. That bear is strong. But yeah, if the Ensign had swapped in a little later, then it might have also thrown that Intimidate into the King Gambit, but unfortunately that's not the way that the speed order works. Basculegion, or sorry, Sneasler was slower than Kilowattrel, and so the switch order was going to work for Kilowattrel first, intimidating Basculegion and Sneasler, and then Sneasler goes out to King Gambit. Still, pretty good turn, probably the faster fake out here for Zach, and then a whole lot of King Gambit mind games because, you know, is it going to Sucker Punch? Is it going to Kowtow?
Yeah, King Gambit he's a demon, right? Like, I feel like half the battle is just, like, calling what your opponent's going to do. Like, if you know what your opponent's going to do, you're just going to win the game every single time. But obviously, if you don't, he just starts to look really silly and bad. But in this case, I still think this is probably a fine situation because you are at least threatening Woodhammer damage on Ursaluna. It's going to do a lot. You are at risk of losing your King Gambit, but at the same time, if you do just leave, like if you just protect King Gambit, you can just create a lot of tempo. But obviously, Dylan can switch and probably should. So Amoonguss is also left unthreatened here, right? And there's no way you can stop a Spore.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo the sentiment you were saying about how King Gambit is one of those Pokemon where it can look amazing or terrible because you have to really go in on calling what your opponent is going to do. And so, yeah, predicting exactly what Zach is going to do here is more of like, you know, predicting exactly what Dylan is going to do and then figure out exactly what Zach would want to do to counter that. No Intimidate means that I'm a little bit worried about Woodhammer getting there against this Ursaluna, but a call was made instead, predicting it to switch out. Another little bit of important information learned here is that the Ursaluna is faster than the King Gambit. Sometimes they do have the same base speed stat, so they might be competing against each other, but losing the Rillaboom there, it does make it seem like it's going to be pretty hard to get through this Amoonguss. I guess we have Acrobatics on the Sneasler. Last Respect's available on the Bass as well. But that Ursaluna having the speed advantage over King Gambit means that if Amoonguss redirects the Sucker Punch, Ursaluna can guarantee get off one more hit.
It's really interesting. Ursula's one of my, like, I've used Ursaluna a lot. It's a Pokemon that I've spent a lot of time with the EV spread on. And I find it interesting that Dylan is actually the 223, because 223 means that you're 140 points. This is the optimal number for the Flame Orb, but it means that you're kind of slow. It means that he might not outspeed, he might not be max attack, or he might not be outspeeding something like Ninetales, which could become very relevant in the set in Tailwind. I think it's a rather slower Ursaluna, which tells me that the King Gambit is probably as bulky can be. But Sneasler's going to come in here, get the Grassy Seed, and now threaten to KO onto Amoonguss. But, like you said, being slower than this Ursaluna is a big deal right here, because you can just Rage Powder Headlong, or even Facade, and you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, this is, almost on the reverse end, where now I feel like Dylan has to make some kind of call, because either of Zach's Pokemon could protect here. And, you know, Ursaluna definitely going to be picking up an Oko on one of them, but if the King Gambit had protected there, then suddenly we were back into the territory where a Sucker Punch could go off or something like that. But it looks like Dylan makes the right call here, just getting rid of the King Gambit before it can possibly KO the Ursaluna, and starting to take a commanding lead at this point. I mean, it's 3 Pokemon to 2, but I'm not super sure I see a way that Zach could bring this back.
Yeah, it's going to just be too much damage, right? Like, I don't think he can get the KOs. I think you can just get the Intimidates off. You can threaten, Intimidate. Like, you can threaten Fake Out, right? There's not much you can do. Basculegion can't protect. I don't know, though. Like, I think maybe you do just have to hope that Wave Crash can kill at -1. Because I think you're supposed to go... We're going to see it go into Kilowattrel. You know what? That's actually fine, yeah. Because you can't... You have to commit 2 attacks into it, and that means Ursaluna gets to move. This is totally fine. Kilowattrel's fine here. Because I think,
Yeah, yeah. I also thought it was a little bit surprising, but I guess just the one thing that Zach does have going for him is that the both of the Pokemon are faster than the Kilowattrel, and Last Respects is still a fine move to be locking into at this point. The Incineroar in the back will resist it, but it's going to be a pretty strong attack, and you have Sneasler to cover the damage into Incineroar with a close combat that's still super effective. And then you also on top of all of that have or Dire Claw odds against the Kilowattrel if you want to just roll
true.
the dice. And one thing that you and I both know is that Kilowattrel, electric versus the water type Basket Legion. You might think this looks pretty good for Kilowattrel. Let's just Thunderbolt it. Thunderbolt does not one shot a Basket Legion pretty much whatsoever, and so you're gonna need some help.
Yeah, this is actually looking like kind of bad now. Because I think you're freely allowed. Is he just going to fake out? I think he has to fake out. But I think Last Respects in a Kilowattrel and Direclaw feels extremely safe on this turn. And I think it might just win. I think if anything, okay, and these are just going to protect for the greed fake out there. That's crazy weird. I think you're just supposed to
It does
attack.
feel like a little unnecessary for sure. I agree. I agree.
But also at the same time, if Sneasler does go down here, I think like if you fake out Thunderbolt kill Sneasler, I think he does just automatically win because of the last respect. So I do respect the protect, but Basket Legion does live. It always lives, dude. It always lives. I don't know why Dylan's getting upset because that will never KO ever, dude. As long as there's a little
um,
bulk. So
yeah,
I
and you'll see. Actually, I think Zach here does something pretty excellent that um, I think some players might miss is just thinking that you can last respects the Kilowattrel and CC the Ensign and just make sure that Kilowattrel doesn't get to Thunderbolt your Sneasler. But the Kilowattrel's at 1 HP. Either of your two Pokemon will be able to 1v1 it in the end. And the close combat at -1 into the Ensign is just needing only a little bit of help. And so both of the attacks go into the Incineroar here. Last Respect's going to be able to finish the job despite being resisted, just because it's got two Pokemon down.
it's
It's
just
powered up
broken.
quite a bit, and adaptability. And yeah, now both of them outspeed the Kilowattrel. So I don't know. Some people might end up looking at it and thinking it's a mind game, like, oh, does the Kilowattrel protect or not? But simply the Ensign doesn't have protect, and so um, the doubling into the Ensign always going to win the game.
It was really interesting. Like, I actually think that protect from Zach was like, it may seem like, oh, he should just protect, right? There's fake out live, but I do think that like, I really respect what he did there because it even covered for this Hail Mary play that Dylan could have made to clutch up, and I just thought it was a really really like small thing that he did that actually really put him ahead, right? Because obviously we saw the sequencing and saw how it played out, and having if he just one shot the sneezer, the game ended. But he covered for that, and like I thought it was pretty unlikely that Dylan would go for a knockoff T-Bolt into the Basket Legion, right? Like there's no way he's not gonna fake out. So I thought it was a pretty solid play, a little really small stuff, but he kind of brought it back there at the end, and I think that's the I think Basket Legion can be very annoying for this team, especially as we saw once all the big, once a Moongus went down specifically because there was no Trick Room. Basket Legion can just tear through this entire team. It can go absolutely nuts, especially when you Terra Ghost their Saluna.
And so, yeah, we talked about the adjustments kind of almost on the lead, where you said, this would have been a really good time to get up that Trick Room. Both players kind of have to dance around these anti-intimidate Pokemon, whether it's King Gambit or Kilowattrel. I think, as we saw, the King Gambit still did at least put in a little bit of work there. Kilowattrel looked kind of bad, in my opinion. It ended up looking like a bit of a waste of space. You didn't end up setting up Tailwind. The Thunderbolt only ended up doing 98%. And there was no Incineroar to, capitalize on the competitive ability. So, yeah, really, I feel like the Trick Room mode might look a little bit more tempting here, but if Zach is able to stay one step ahead of that and bring the Incineroar to counter it, then it's going to be difficult. But yeah, a lot of it is mode calling, and it's so funny to say that like mode calling is like a somewhat toxic element of this what I would otherwise call a very fair and balanced team. Like how crazy is it that you're worried like, oh, are they leading Kilowattrel or P2? Like these two Pokemon that are not OHKOing anything. But if you get it wrong, it can really spell disaster for you.
We are going to see the Basculation KG into Incin P2. Just like you said, he led the Intimidate this time. I think I like Zach's adjustment, and I think Dylan's was a little bit telegraphed. But he does need that Intimidate. He does want to weaken it. I think P2 is one of the best King Gambit answers in the game, which is kind of funny. But the Terra Fighting just makes it go absolutely nuts here. And so I do think that like it will take 2 to 3 turns to get the KO, but also like you do slow down the King Gambit quite a bit. So I think that it is okay that the Defiant was procced. But Dylan does have to be careful, and he does have to play precise here, otherwise it can get out of hand really quickly.
Yeah, the difference is the +1 is actually not that bad. If you Terra Fighting this P2, you've got both of your fighting resists on the field. It won't actually lead to that much damage. But if the King Gambit gets off like a Swords Dance, then it's really going to start to get out of hand. However, the Terra has not been saved for Porygon.
What?
It's immediately used for Incineroar, which definitely surprises me. Now, Terra Fighting Porygon 2 doesn't actually get hit super effectively by a lot of Pokemon in certain matchups. Zach does have exactly one way, I think, and that is simply the Acrobatics from Sneasler. And Acrobatics from Sneasler without Swords Dance, probably not that bad. So, yeah, I find this a very surprising play to be making. Yes, you take the flip turn well, but that's kind of like, I don't know, you got to be... You're saving yourself from the potential wave crash flip turn damage, and now the dark type damage looks a lot scarier.
Yeah, I don't love that. Especially like I've played this sequencing before in practice, and I feel like a lot of the time, as long as you're just getting up the Trick Room and just sporing it, it usually feels pretty good. But we're gonna see a double up into King Gambit, which I think is respectable. It did do a lot of damage. And we're gonna see a Kowtow into Incin. Oh my god, the Terragrass looks like dog. One big thing I will say about this matchup though is if Ninetales is brought, Terra Fighting P2 does shit its pants like a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit.
Oh, I forgot there is another way.
The Moonblast is big. The Moonblast is big, and it does do a lot more than you expect because it is Life Orb. But either way, I think the Terragrass, I didn't love it, but the way this turn played out, he called the Terra correctly, which I think was really big. That I think the King Gambit has been diffused a little bit, but this turn does look kind of brutal, right? Like, you are threatening a potential, like, Sucker Punch onto one of them. Yep, he's just going to get the KO, and then the other one has to eat a CC, which I think it obviously will take because it's Porygon 2, but it does suck to get hit by a close combat here.
Right. I think that first turn, it felt like there was a bit of, the Iron Claw instead. Are we getting anything here? It looks like 8 poison. Okay. I mean, honestly, any status would have been pretty annoying, but that one definitely hurts.
Yeah, I think all are good. Any status. Yeah, you take whichever one you can get here. We take that. P2 slowly.
So yeah, I think that on that first turn though, I think both players got a little bit of something good out of it for them, because we saw that Dylan did ultimately call the Terra Fire on the King Gambit, went for 2 resisted attacks into a Terra Blast and knockoff. And it did a lot of damage. Zach did not at least go for something like a Swords Dance. That's where it ends up really biting you, is thinking that your King Gambit will be able to go the distance, and it actually takes 90% of its HP on the first turn. So that Kowtow, putting the Incineroar in Sucker Punch range, meant that, yeah, it wasn't like a all-in maneuver from Zach, and definitely still leaves some room to come back in this one. And P2 Amoonguss, it's definitely going to be able to land some spores to make this kind of like an unkillable situation, but the Trick Room timer will just steadily count down, and you got 4 turns, and if you're spending all those turns clicking Spore, you're not actually picking up knockouts.
And he does need to get these turns right, like, because we know Rillaboom's coming in right now, right? There he is. And so you do have to, like, you're wasting 1 turn here, because this is going to be a Rilla switch and a Protect 100%, right? Oh, wow. Wow, right. No Protect? Crazy. I
King
guess.
Gambit is slower than everything we've seen so far, pretty much. It's slower than the Ursa Luna, it's slower than the Porygon 2. Probably not slower than the Amoonguss, but that was the danger of setting up Trick Room, is it actually almost helped Zach a little bit more there. But
Ooh, is
yeah,
this
let's see how this plays.
is this a free glide? Does glide get there on P2? That's my concern. Yeah, it definitely does. It's in red. I think this is a free glide.
Yeah, notably, this is like the almost the cascading effects of that instant Terra earlier. We said that, the Terra fighting on Porygon 2 would probably have been ideal, but um, the Ursa Luna also can't go for Terra Ghost, and so that means that it might have to take a super effective attack from the Rillaboom. Grassy Glide, not going to one-shot an Ursa Luna, so not the end of the day. But it also means that this Porygon 2 is kind of just pinned, kind of just done for, because if you want to switch in your Ursa Luna, you're going to take 2 glides, and that will be too much for sure.
My concern here with this play from Dylan, he just switched in the bear on the Amoonguss slot. Is Zach's not best play just like Grassy Glide Wave Crash? Like,
Yeah, or like Flip Turn even. Like Flip Turn would put the Ursa Luna in Grassy Glide range, just get your Basculegion out, but instead we actually see the
what?
fake out into the Amoonguss, not wanting to take that Spore, and the Ice Beam doing well over half. Flip Turn will also get up the kill. It would have done a lot to an Ursa Luna swap.
Wow.
But allowing that P2 the attack, I don't know. I mean, not wanting to take the Spore, I do understand, but yeah, I also didn't want to take the Ice Beam. So there's some elements of, and we can definitely look at this a little bit in hindsight, because Dylan did switch the Ursa Luna in for Amoonguss, but had Dylan got off the best counterplay to Grassy Glide, it would have probably been sporing that Basculegion, and I don't know, me personally, that seems like a situation I'm a little bit more comfortable with than my Rillaboom being chipped down so heavily. But
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking I always Grassy Glide there, and I need to keep Dylan honest. I'm gonna force him to spore me. If he doesn't spore me, something's gonna die. And at that point too, like, it's not like Ursaluna would put on any threat, right? The biggest threat is Ursaluna coming in, because you have to assume it's the last Pokemon. I want to break that down a little bit more, because what I'm thinking here is, I think if you glide P2 and Wave Crash, right? Like, let's say you do get spored. Let's say Amoonguss stays in and spores you Basculegion. You KO P2. That's awesome. If he switches to Ursaluna, that's awesome, because you have no Terra and you just did half to the only threat to your team, right? So this is the only situation where you are in a negative spot. So I think it should have just been Glide, Wave Crash, or Flip Turn even, right? Just to get momentum. Because I think if this guy's sleeping, like let's say you do get spored and then P2 goes down, like, you don't care. You just burned one Sleep Turn. Now you're threatening Wood Hammer on Ursaluna. It can't KO your Rillaboom because you're full HP because you didn't take an Ice Beam. So I feel like it was just I think it was a series ender if he had just made that play. I don't know if there were any downsides to it, but he does go for the fake out and Dylan reads him correctly.
Not only that, but the game still isn't over at the very least. It wasn't the turn decider. I still think that there is a decent chance this could work out. The Sneasler does get its Grassy Seed. It will definitely go down to a Headlong Rush, and Terra is not available to it. But Headlong Rush is nice to force Ursaluna to commit to, because when those defense drops happen, they're not really something you can get rid of easily when you have no more. You can't switch out anymore, and so that might make it so that Grassy Glide is able to pick it up. Aqua Jet could help finish the job or something, and so I think this is the last turn of Trick Room, if I remember correctly. Or maybe there's 2 more, but yeah, 2. At this point, Rillaboom is going to be the one to close out this game. You'll need a little bit of help into the Amoonguss, because Rillaboom will not end up 1v1ing the Amoonguss, but Swap Protect here seems relatively safe. You'll probably get this is the danger of Ursaluna, is that if you want to Facade the Ursaluna and your opponent has or click Facade with Ursaluna and your opponent has a Ghost type, then you might have to Headlong Rush, and if you Headlong Rush a Rillaboom, you're also going to be sad. So you have to be able to make those calls. It can definitely be tricky.
Why is he protecting in Trick Room? I don't get this play at all.
I really do not know.
Because, like, you even if you get glided, that's awesome. It's dead. And if you whiff into Basket Legion, that's awesome. Who cares, right? Because he spored Sneasler. I just don't. I mean, the protect was obvious there from the opponent, but I don't know why. Like, I just think it's like a small thing that just didn't matter, because like had Rillaboom just stayed in and Woodhammered, now it's the freest switch of his life, right? Like, you just don't care. So I don't know. I just felt like that was such a weird, because he was burned, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah,
he was burned. Yeah, he switched it in. That was the whole point. I don't understand that one. It doesn't end up mattering too much here. It's still going to be really dicey here because we're going to see what. I think he has to get this right, but I think that was the easiest facade spore of your life, was it not? I think Zachary did just mess up here. I think this was.
Yeah,
a
I would
facade
agree.
spore.
Yeah, I think that Zach was worried about Spore into Sneasler and Headlong Rush into the Basket Legion. But I think that as long as you bring in Rillaboom once Trick Room is over, it's not in range of dying to a Pollen Puff from the Amoonguss. And so you can just throw a Woodhammer into the Ursaluna twice. The reason that I say twice is, of course, that the Ursaluna can protect the Pollen Puff and come out. And then you'll Woodhammer and ultimately KO yourself. But as long as you have either Sneasler or Basket Legion, both of them will be able to do enough damage to 1v1 the Amoonguss. They both resist Pollen Puff. They're not even like super effective weak to it. They will definitely out damage the Amoonguss, even if it's full health and has Citrus Berry. And you're spending several turns of sleep. The Pollen Puff's just not going to get there. So I think that as long as you don't let a Pokemon go to sleep and lose one to Ursaluna, I think you're in a fine spot. And so I think that, yeah, you just needed to not switch in Rillaboom, let it come in safely once Trick Room has expired, land your Woodhammer, and ultimately 1v1 the Amoonguss in the end game. And it seems like a relatively safe path to victory. If there's something I'm missing that Zach had considered, I guess we'll just have to see if he knows himself or says it himself, when he ends up talking about the finals at some point.
Yep, and now obviously the sleep was big. I think it staying asleep was important. And I think Dylan should just go for the headlong, take the guaranteed KO, and yeah, that should be game. Like, I do think like Zach is gonna have problems dealing with him. Like, I think this board position, like Dylan tried to set it up in game 1 as well, but like Ursaluna next to Amoonguss is absolutely insane. I think that it solos Zach's entire team, but I think it can be really difficult, right? Like Rillaboom throws a wrench into it, potentially Incin, the Sneasler can Terra Flying. Like, it can be kind of annoying, but if he can get this defensive little core set up, he can just shit out damage, and there's not much Zach can do. He doesn't have spread moves outside of the Ninetales, which we have yet to see. So Dylan's going to take this game too. I think Zach messed up a little bit, but also, right, like, this is Zach's first time in the finals. He's obviously very, very well. I think Dylan's first time as well. But yeah, Zach is. I think honestly, I have a huge amount of respect for him. I feel like he's a silent killer right now. You don't really like he's constantly getting top cuts. He's getting top 16. He's just losing in the first round of cut, or we're just not really seeing him on stream. I mean, we've seen him on stream too. He's getting like top 8s. I think he's really, really good. So we'll have to see how he adjusts and approaches this game 3.
I do think Dylan has one regional win. I can't remember which one though.
Oh, he totally does with Zygarde Solgaleo, right? Am I crazy?
Is that what it was? I
swear it's with Zygarde Solgaleo. He does have a win. You're totally right. I think he also was successful in seniors as well. He did win. I swear it's with Zygarde Solgaleo. I might be wrong, but I swear to God that's what it is. Well, Dylan takes this game, but who do you think is going to take the Drip War? We got Dylan on screen with, I believe, a Gengar hoodie in the Play Pokemon shirt. He does also have the knee-high black socks and the blue shorts. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about Dylan's fit?
I definitely say I got to give it to Zach. I also haven't gotten a totally perfect look at what Zach's got, but I think it's like some official Pokemon merch. It says like Toad School on it.
Yeah,
must be from Anaheim. So that's fun. But yeah, I think that both players are definitely like they both look fine, but I'm gonna give it to Zach just slightly.
I agree. I feel like
I'm not being blown away though.
No, it's blown away. I think it's a solid, safe look. The pants look good with the shirt. It's just some safe things. I gotta say, Dylan is docked a little bit because of the Play Pokemon shirt. Again, not his fault. Oh, slightly his fault because he did wear a shirt that had to be covered up. But the blue is just going kind of crazy. It's kind of clashing with the jacket. So for me, it's got to go to Zach. But yeah, I think the way Dylan played it, like it was a little bit unorthodox, especially with the Terra and how the lines ended up playing out. But I kind of felt like he was in control. I liked the Trick Room mode, felt much better. He did take a slight risk with the instant lead into King Gambit, but he navigated it well. He called the Terra and made his way through it. How are you approaching Game 3, though? Because I think leading Instant P2 is a little bit risky. I would like to see like a Mungus P2. That would be my go-to lead if I saw this. But I don't know. Also, Zach could whip out that Taunt Incineroar could become a major factor here because it did look real juicy. Is it just going to be calling? Like, if Dylan leads Kilowattrel, does he just win? Like, is he just in a great spot? Or is it just like, do you just lock down that Trick Room mode and just run it back once again?
Right. I think that is what it all comes down to when you're playing against this team is addressing which speed option best, and then if you get it right, you're in a pretty good spot. The game isn't won instantly, and if you get it wrong, the game is also not lost instantly. But both players, they don't want to put themselves at any type of disadvantage, so they're trying to, put themselves in the head of their opponent as much as they possibly can and prepare for what's upcoming.
Yeah,
I did end up looking it up, by the way, Colin, and it was Roanoke in 2018. So it was just like a Mega Gengar team that Dylan ended up winning with. But yeah, anyways.
I swear he must have gotten top 4 with Solgaleo. I swear he used it with Zygarde. But maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another Chicago player. I think I totally am. I totally am thinking of Alex Rand, who won Milwaukee, used Solgaleo Zygarde. I totally am thinking of that. Okay. So he is a regional winner before. So obviously though, like regionals back then were very different, very small. I feel like these are like these are nuts now. Like I feel like I have respect for anyone who wins one of these. Like these are a slog, right? Like you have to go 10-2 to make it into cut, and then Dylan had to win 3 more sets. So at this point, he is 13-2 in the tournament, which is that's just a lot of Pokemon to win, right? That's just a lot of Pokemon.
Are you trying to say that our regional wins from back in the day are meaningless?
No, they're not meaningless. They mean more.
Entirely meaningless? I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever, man.
I would say they're smaller, so we were playing better players every single round.
No, it's
right?
cool. It's cool. Exactly. Yeah.
You've
competition was tighter.
You've also won a regional in the modern era, dude. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, you've literally won in like a year ago. All right, game 3 time. Basket Legion Instant. So he's just straight up calling him into a Mungus Ursaluna. Okay. I mean, this looks lovely for Zachary here. I mean, it doesn't, right? The Spore into Basket. No, it's not guaranteed. It's a little clunky because I think you can just go for like you could Terragrass knockoff. I don't know if I like that. Amoonguss is in a pretty goated spot. I will say that this lead from Dylan, leading Amoonguss is goated from Dylan right now. Dylan didn't like auto win by leading Kilowattrel, but also Zach didn't auto win by leading Instant into P2 Amoonguss. Not an auto win, but okay, we're gonna see Ninetales swap in. That's crazy.
I do think the Kilowattrel would have been pretty scary. And yeah, I also think a double protect from Dylan here is pretty telegraphed, and so getting the Ninetales in right now, so safe. On top of that, there are a lot of good ways to keep the Amoonguss from doing anything too scary. A -1 headlong rush with no guts wouldn't have been the worst thing, especially because if your Incineroar does even go down to it, you could still maybe get in like your Rillaboom or whatever else you have in the back and start going for Blizzards into this -1 Ursaluna. But the taunt keeps the Amoonguss completely locked down. You don't even have to worry about like faking it out because taunt would last longer basically, and it would also work on a P2 swap as well. So yeah, the play here on the first turn very safe from Zach, and I love the position that it's set up for the second turn as well.
Yeah, he played that phenomenally, and also the lead, like leading the instant, a little bit of a risk, but I think going that the game 2 plan felt so much better from Dylan that I think like even the idea of a +2 on competitive Kilowattrel is not worth it, and I feel like just slamming that instant and leading it is fire, and we're gonna see a Terra Ghost here to try and eat this facade from Ursaluna, which, I mean, like, I don't think you're ever headlong rushing a Ninetales. I mean, you could, but it is at -1 as well. Oh my god, that Blizzard cooked. Oh my god. But it's going to be a taunt, right? You kind of have to taunt. Yeah, you unfortunately do have to taunt.
Yeah, it does seem like it's the taunt.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Ursaluna, let's see here. It does just headlong rush that Incineroar with Guts. Definitely going to be enough to take it out. But the Ninetales, the consequence, quote, consequence of Terra ghosting here is actually it's just another benefit is what I'm trying to say, is that now if you switch in Basket Legion, you'll have 2 Pokemon that are fake out immune. And yeah, you can see Zach wasted no time switching in that Basket Legion here, because it just is such a strong option. And people have seen this probably over the years a number of times with different water type attackers like Kyogre or whatever. Water and Ice, a very good combination because they cover each other so well on the type chart. Amoonguss can switch in on that Wave Crash. Incin can Terra Grass. I believe it is Terra Grass.
Yeah.
But, you know, then you're just getting hit super effectively by the Blizzard. And so, yeah, there's really no good way to get out of this. Porygon 2, technically neutral to both, but these are some strong attacks. Life Orb, Blizzard, Adaptability, Wave Crash. The damage is definitely on Zach's side right now.
This is actually like an incredible pin. Like Zach has set up like from the turn 1 to turn, like every single turn. I feel like even though he got KO'd, has been perfect. Like this is amazing. P2's gonna try to eat this Blizzard on the side though. I mean, like, I do think that Dylan could still win, right? P2 is the bulky guy, but oh my god, it's gonna be single targets. This is brutal.
It will end up being single target, and yeah, Amoonguss, like, these are the types of situations where Amoonguss doesn't want to have to click Rage Powder, but it might have to just to prevent Basket Legion from dying to, or from Porygon 2 from dying to Blizzard plus Wave Crash plus Blizzard.
It has to. It has to.
If Trick Room does go up, then there's still a chance that Ursaluna can win. It really depends a little bit on what Zach has in the back.
Okay.
A Rillaboom or King Gambit would probably lock it up, though. I guess not lock, but, you know, it would be very heavily favored. You could either Grassy Glide to KO that. But I guess there was one option that I forgot. You know, we talked about Water and Ice being really good coverage. There is a single type that it can't hit, and that's Water itself. And so Amoonguss can actually commit to the Terra Water here just to stick around a little bit longer. It's a bit of a risk because, you know, every type has their weakness. If King Gambit's in the back, you're probably okay. If it's Rillaboom in the back, you're very scared.
I mean, I think at this point, though, you just have to click it. But Rillaboom is looking like actually like the game ender Thanos here. He like actually destroys all these guys by himself. The P2 does a lot of damage. Like Dylan has definitely got a lot of special attack in that guy. That did so much damage, that Ice Beam. So I am a little like that. There is that to deal with it. But on this turn, I think the Terra Water's totally. You just have to slam it, right? Otherwise, this is just cooked. So Terra Water comes through. Oh, and just Moonblast for a little bit extra damage. Zach, you didn't have to do all that, but he did.
I definitely don't know if that was necessary, but, you know.
You might as well call him out, dude. He's in his fucking head. You're going to say it, right? You're going to say, I am in your head. You're losing this one, dude. Okay, but now, obviously, Trick Room goes up. It's Spore time, but I don't know. You're not dealing that much damage. Ice Beam's doing okay damage to Ninetales. It's okay. But Basket Legion is actually just like defensively, he is so chilling here. These Pokemon cannot touch him, even though he's probably going to go to sleep.
Yeah, you know that from experience. It's very funny that a Basket Legion facing like Porygon 2, it just walls it out. It
feels terrible,
especially. And what's funny is like Terra or not, you know, of course, Terra normal. Normal Terra Blast doesn't do anything. Terra Fighting also doesn't do anything. So you just have to Ice Beam it. Basket Legion, though, probably going to go to sleep here. And then Rillaboom coming in on an Ice Beam. Again, another situation where it might have been better to just let Ninetales take the hit or something like that. The following turn will end up being pretty strong because even though Rillaboom takes this Ice Beam for a lot of damage, you can just kind of like fake out the that was a critical hit, because I think that I don't know if the Porygon 2 picked up a special attack boost this time. I think it's an attack boost.
It's definitely an attack, because this is how much it did last time and I was blown away. But yeah, right. So that crit definitely is big right there. So now you have a Ice Beam Pollen Puff like just aimed right at this guy. The Rillaboom switch is rough there. If anything, I think Rillaboom could have swapped into the Basque Legion. I think that would be where you would have swapped it in.
Yeah, you could have swapped it in there. You're not likely to take an Ice Beam. And then Ninetales also had a Protect available to it if it wanted, to just continue to burn Trick Room turns and force the Amoonguss to spore that slot once again, if that was what Zach wanted to. And so, yeah, we do see the Grassy Glide here. Amoonguss lives on 7.
That's clutch.
Does get off the Pollen Puff. The Ice Beam should not KO, and Basque Legion has its first opportunity to wake up and go for a Wave Crash here, I believe.
Hang on. Oh, wow.
And it does just wake up.
Dude, the pop-off from Zach, too. And Amoonguss is
I know, both players have had a lot of reactions, honestly. The camera has been just showing a lot of intense, feelings, because, this has not been a one-sided match whatsoever. I feel like there have been lots of moments where the momentum has swung in one player's favor. I'm surprised Dylan didn't pop off when the Amoonguss survived. That would have been something pretty exciting for me if I was in the finals and my Amoonguss survived on 7.
Dude,
I would have been like,
knew. He knew, bro. He like didn't pop off. He just went like, that's what he does. Like he doesn't attack boost. But he did, like, he had a little reaction there. I wouldn't say it was a pop-off, but I felt like he knew that was happening, and he's like, I'm just him. I know I'm living. But now this is looking kind of awkward. I think Zach has a free, just swap, and then you throw the Glide, and then you can throw an Aqua Jet, and then you lose to a double Protect. Yeah. I think that's your line here. And now the Snow's back up. I think that's what you go for.
So Dylan does just play safe, just plays it smart, not letting the Ursaluna die, because at this point Zach is just looking to kind of like consolidate, just bring Dylan down to only that Porygon 2. Porygon 2, a very good Pokemon at like 1v1ing things and lasting long throughout the battle, but if it's 2v1ing, it can't really recover as safely. The damage is not going to stop. You're not going to be able to offset it as easily. And there still is one more turn of Trick Room. As you see, it did not expire here. So the swap there on the Basque Legion, very, very smart, meaning that if the Protect does happen, like Colin said, Aqua Jet is now totally viable here. It does, unfortunately, mean that your Basque Legion is going to be locked into Aqua Jet for the rest of the game. No more Pokemon to switch out to. And Aqua Jet definitely not the strongest move against a Porygon 2.
And I think, Dylan's making the correct play to attack here. It is definitely all you can really do. So now it's just going to come down to whether or not he gets frozen by Blizzard, right? Ninetales is going to protect. Yeah, that's respectable. Get that little healing up. Grassy Terrain is actually going to do wonders for Basque Legion too, because it's just going to heal up the whole time. It's just more of like, I don't know if he can necessarily get through P2 because of the Aqua Jet lock, right? Like, he does need to get rid of Ninetales first. Not getting rid of Ninetales is super important, but I don't know if he can in time, because he does have Encore on the Ninetales as well, right?
Yeah, the special, the physical attack boost as well, really not helping, and so we see Aqua Jet here. We can just go for Blizzard as well, single target. Good damage, but actually because Porygon 2 is so tanky, these attacks don't even do half. Grassy Terrain going to come in. Ice Beam does land a critical hit here, which
that's big.
I think puts the Ninetales a little bit closer into range of an Ice Beam plus Life Orb. And so
do you use Encore though?
Go ahead.
Do you use Encore?
You could potentially Encore. The problem is I think another Ice Beam might take you out. And I think if you Blizzard Aqua Jet afterwards will KO. So I think like Blizzard Aqua Jet. And the only way that Porygon 2 can get out of getting KO'd by that is to go for a Recover or Trick Room. And yeah, Ninetales definitely can't protect here because the Trick Room is an option. Can't really Encore the Trick Room after it's happened, because it's of course not like a Prankster Encore. Porygon 2 can then just recover or attack. Crit Aqua Jet and Blizzard, still not enough to KO. It lives on 4 HP. And it gets off that recover. If it had gone for an Ice Beam, I think
been cooked.
Dylan probably would have been dead even without the critical hit from Aqua Jet. So the recover ended up being a smart play there. However,
So
now Encore is absolutely live. And this is where things start to get a little bit dicey because, spoilers, I believe Zach does not go for an Encore immediately. And he actually only has one turn of grace to go for this Encore because of how much damage the Life Orb will do to the Ninetales at this point. It's not, you just don't want to be able to, you don't want to KO yourself or anything. 8 HP this time, so close. But Recover goes off again. And again, yeah, the Porygon 2 had just attacked there. So it kind of has to recover at this point. Snow is gone, though. Blizzard is no longer a guarantee. And Life Orb is not going to KO the Ninetales. So this is where I think you have to go for Encore. And I believe we do see Zach do that. We'll see.
Yeah, he has the Encore. The Encore just doing actually like way more than I would like to this P2, considering it's a fucking base 40 priority move. Recover.
Yeah, right. Adaptability going hard. And then another thing to consider is like the PP on these moves. Recover, the most important one to be paying attention to. Aqua Jet has actually just way too much PP that I think Basculegion is not going to run out of Aqua Jets before. And that wouldn't actually help Basculegion either. Aqua Jet is going to be better than going for Struggle. So, yeah, Bass is just going to be doing the same thing for the whole game. And then this is the turn that I really did not like. This Blizzard, it does land. However, we get no closer to KOing this Porygon 2 and doing 10% to our Ninetales. There's actually like a couple of ways that Zach could have been trying to approach this. I think that last turn was supposed to just be a Protect on the Ninetales and then a Protect again just to keep yourself. You want to start attacking this Porygon 2 once the recovers are gone. And then force the Porygon 2 to KO the Ninetales with an Ice Beam. So that the Ninetales gets off one attack to help Basculegion 1v1 this Porygon 2 in the endgame once it can't recover anymore. But another way that Zach could have possibly played this is actually for a timer endgame. The animations aren't the longest here. And Zach only has so much your time clock. It's actually, I believe, covered by the player cam, so we can't actually see it on his side. But if Zach had taken, about 40 seconds every turn, could have dragged this game out to 20 minutes and then ultimately tried to win on timer. The way that the timer works is whoever has more Pokemon wins. So even if Dylan had more HP overall, just that Ninetales being alive at literally 1 would give Zach the win. Instead, here I think we see a very unfortunate blunder. Encore has ended. It just displayed on the screen. And actually, if you could go back, Colin, and just let it play at normal speed. Go back 1 more second. I think, look at Zach's player cam. I feel like he was almost looking off into space when this happens.
Oh my god.
So watch here.
Yeah, he's not looking.
Know.
I don't think he's looking.
And so the Encore has ended. Everybody knows that Encores goes in like 3s or like a lot of the top players, but Zach did not pay attention and goes for 1 more Encore. And Dylan pops off because of that misplay. And yeah, basically, I'm not advocating for a Blizzard. You don't need all of the damage. You just need a little bit of help. Yep. And a Moonblast from Ninetales there would have probably been enough for Basculegion to be able to safely 1v1 this Porygon 2. We're going to see exactly how much damage they do to each other because Aqua Jet almost resisted with how bulky Porygon 2 is. Ice Beam actually resisted, and you're seeing this is actually just a slap fest. Neither player can do anything else, so this is just an auto battler. I don't know. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. You just let it go. Also, Moonblast, if he gets a special attack drop, could also be massive, right? Because that would probably double this dude's longevity in this 1v1, right? Like, this is gonna be even doing less, but he doesn't go for it. So now he's just slamming Aqua Jets. And at any point here, if a freeze happens and they don't immediately thaw, the game ends, right? Like, and Dylan crossing his fingers, praying to his mighty saviors up there, whether he can get out of this situation. Because yeah, P2 is losing this trade. He needs the fucking freeze right now. You can see he's saying his prayers. He's saying his prayers. He literally is.
Yeah.
Yep. and now he's gonna fire it
And
off.
it's so funny because yeah, he took a really long time before this one. This is the one that it has to happen on.
Yep.
Aquajet doesn't quite get there unless it gets a critical hit.
10 HP.
Survives on 10. And Ice Beam not quite getting there as well. And the freeze happens.
God. The most insane pop off too. He literally cannot handle that one. And now again,
But
if
now
it thaws,
a 20% chance, and there it is.
and Zach
The
is absolutely
Ice
heartbroken.
Beam.
And it goes the distance. And he's done. He drops the headset too. He is a regional champion, Dylan clutching up. I mean, that whole sequence was kind of crazy because it was completely out of the player's hands. There was no gameplay they could do. There was nothing
At that
they
point,
could
yes,
do. Yeah,
totally.
It all came down to leading.
It was just like 6 turns straight of just slapping each other. Dylan was the only one with, well, I wouldn't say the only one with a secondary, with the RNG that could go his way, because I think a single Aquajet critical hit would have bumped the KO to an earlier range. But yeah, quite insane, quite insane.
That was brutal. That was a brutal handshake. Zach is clearly just fucking destroyed. And then you just gotta watch the pop off happen in real time. Yup. Oh my god. We haven't seen one like that in a while, dude. I kind of thought we were gonna see a big one at Milwaukee, but it was pretty tame. This one's pretty.
Right.
This one's intense, dude.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that was a crazy end game, and I'm sure both players are looking at it, thinking of things that they would have loved to have done differently. But this is this is how it shook out. Dylan ends up being a 2-time regional champion now. Also, it wasn't a thing back then when he won his first one, but this time around it means that he has the auto qualification to the World Championships. So you know that he'll be in San Francisco, walking off now. Okay, I thought the judges were gonna be like, get back there, like they were gonna like grab him back, but no, I guess just going to say hi to the friends and get some congratulations. So, yeah,
I like this one more.
Ultimately won by.
Yeah,
It's actually kind of cool. It is cool to continue to see a bit more of those interactions. Like that is
they cut off so quick.
They usually cut it. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I think that like this team is nothing surprising to anybody, and I also think that Zach's team is a team that feels a little bit like specific to him, in particular to him or whatever, and so I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't really pick up in the metagame. Maybe teams like it, like the teams that are very similar to it, but I still think it's a strong team. This isn't to bag on it. It just seems like I wouldn't expect this to take the metagame by storm, but I wouldn't be surprised if more people did just look at the Kilowattrel team and say, like, I can play that. I love Instant Amoonguss.
Yeah.
I'm so good at Instant Amoonguss,
I'm so glad I'm not going to LAIC, bro, because I would have had to play the Kilowattrel team, and it would have been a nightmare, dude. The mirror is not fun.
I know. I'm also glad that I'm not going to LAIC. That just, like, this is not the end of Regulation H. It is the end of Regulation H for me and you here on this. And it's the end for most of NA, I would say, most of the North American players, because this was our last regional. LAIC will be, there will be plenty of NA players in attendance there. And then I think there's also Stuttgart over in Europe, like right after. But it is just crazy to think about, like, we're not done. There's still going to be more metagame progression, or at least a little bit of a metagame progression before we're out of here.
I am excited to watch LAIC, and if you want to see our LAIC coverage, we'll be posting videos next week for that, and we will still have some more videos on Las Vegas this week. But thank you for joining me, Alex. And again, Alex is a fantastic coach. He helped me get to where I am at. I got top 16 at this tournament. So if you want to go check out Alex's coaching, I'll link it down below. And he also does a weekly podcast, Tub Takes. I'll link his Twitch where they stream it, and also the YouTube channel where they post the VODs afterward.
Yeah, we'll be talking with, I don't know exactly when this is going to be uploaded relative to it, and also when Tub Takes happens and stuff like that, but I believe we'll be talking with Zach Weed and Zach Carlson. So if you want to hear about their Las Vegas runs and their teams and stuff, come on by. Check out the Twitch or the VOD.
Yep,
YouTube.
and I'll link it all down below. Thank you for joining me, Alex. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace out, peeps.